Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I just watched episode 11 of season 3 of Superman and Lois. Um, yeah, I was wondering what they were doing with this season because I was wondering how they were going to use Pia and Mannheim as the villains. I was wondering how this was going to play out. When the cure didn't work, I thought she was mutating or something and she was going to become some big enemy they had to face off for the end of the season. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, because I was behind. I watched, I missed episode 10 and 11, which was the last episode, this one. So I just watched them back to back. And I was thinking, how many episodes are there? If there's 15, like season 1 and season 2, that means they've got 4 more episodes after the next one. I was thinking, how are they going to drag this out? Well, they didn't drag this out. This episode, we see the end of the Pia story. Basically, they're planning to leave, and she's having attacks, kind of like when she was sick. And Mannheim thinks she just needs another dose of the cure, and obviously it's not a cure if you have to keep taking doses, and it doesn't look like it has cured her. But it doesn't look like it's mutating her anyway. I think it was actually the disease and her dying, basically, that was happening, but it did seem to amp up her power. It's unclear exactly what was happening, because she's a mutant and who knows. But she accidentally turns one of Mannheim's assistants into a splatter of blood on the wall, which horrifies Mateo, of course, and she realizes that she's lost control, and she tells Mannheim, you have to let me go, you have to, let it go. So she runs off, and of course she can't go anywhere without causing destruction, so she's trying to get away from them. She's trying to just get away, and everyone around her is everything around her, everyone around her is being affected. Superman goes because Lois was about to have a surgery, and that's another thing. I thought they were going to drag that out, and that was going to be maybe the end of the season, so she could recover between seasons, and they wouldn't have to deal with her being, incapacitated during like some big, conclusions, season-ending battle or drama or something like that. But she's going in for the surgery, and we have a weird scene where Daddy Kent is basically Daddy Lane, he's her father, not Clark's father, is quizzing the doctors about like what happens if this happens or that happens, and that gives Jordan a panic attack, and right as he's having a panic attack and Jonathan's trying to calm him down, he starts getting his x-ray vision, so he's got a double sort of freak out happening there. They calm him down. Clark goes off to deal with Pia, but there's a problem with, of course, her sound is affecting the city, the power, everything. The hospital has problems, but they're on generator power, so Lois decides to go on with the operation despite the risks. I'm like, maybe put it off until the Pia thing's over. But no, she's like, I can't do this again. I'm here, I have to go through with it. So she goes in, Clark goes to deal with that. Natalie was trying to find Matteo, and she left a device in the Mannheim's mansion, and he basically runs away to get help for his mother, and he goes upstairs, he's trying to call someone, and his voice attracts Natalie, so she comes. The dad comes up, finds her, threatens her, she's like, I'm here to help. They realise they really can't do anything, and everyone sort of agrees to just sort of calm down and try and deal with the problem at hand, and let all the revenge and insanity go. Matteo wants Natalie to take him to her because she's basically out in the middle of the city and there's like shockwaves flying everywhere. Superman tries to help, but he can't, and he just says to her, you just have to let go. It's okay, you can just let go. And she does. He takes her up into the sky, because I was thinking, God, just get her out of the city, just go up into space. I'm like, well, she can't breathe in space, so where can you take her where she's not going to do damage? They go up into the sky, and there's an explosion. I guess her death releases all the power that is in her body. I don't understand what exactly she is and how it works, but he comes back down. He gives the Mannheim's her body, and that's the end of her story. I'm like, so what are they going to do for episodes 12, 13, 14, 15? I couldn't think what the next story would be. And before I get into that, I forgot all about the Lanes. Not the Lanes. What's Lana's last name? Um, Sarah is becoming depressed because, of course, Jonathan hates her because, well, she was basically a bitch to him, and he's been a soppy little twat. So the two of them are just making each other miserable. Um, and she, of course, now has ruined her life as far as she can see forward because, 5 years with a DUI, basically, she's not going to be able to apply for college, she won't be able to get a job, blah, blah, blah. It's going to ruin everything. And Lana goes to Kyle and says, we need to talk to her because he's had experiences with depression. I guess that comes from his side. And basically they're like, we need to give you something to do to keep you busy. So here, work at the cafe, wear this nice 1950s dress, uniform. So she's doing that. So they're all okay. I think everyone's okay. And it's like, okay, what are they going to do for the rest of the season? And then, boom, we see someone crawling through the rubble of the Mannheim's underground bunker laboratory thing. And it's Clark's, Bizarro Superman's body. He's been revived. He's alive. I'm like, I thought he was dead, and they were just using his body. Like, what? I don't understand what happened, but he's walking around. His eyes are glowing blue, and he's screaming. So that's the end of the episode. I'm like, oh, so now this is the end of the season. And I hated that they did this because they did this with, I think, season 1, or there was one season where God, which one was that? I can't remember. I thought it was going to be all about taking on the army of the superhumans and all that, and they resolved that in like one episode, and then the last couple of episodes was about something else, and I'm just like, I feel like they gave us a build-up, they gave us a season arc story, and then they just sort of ended it just to bring out something else towards the end. I know they had him there all along, but I thought he was a corpse. I didn't see him coming back, being reanimated and being a problem. So yeah, didn't see it coming. I don't know if I appreciate the surprise. I appreciate that they obviously wanted to not make it predictable and sort of surprise us with, well, that's ended and now we've got this new problem. But, I had time to sort of expect the other sort of, I thought it would have been a little bit more interesting to have to fight a peer or something, and then to see the son and the father kind of having to deal with the whole, how far will we go for a loved one, for a partner, what will we do? Especially since the son has just sort of been introduced to it. And in the last episode, he did sort of break the law to help his mother. And the resolution to those guys was basically, the dad said, I'll tell you everything if my son has all the charges dropped and he's able to basically go on and live a normal life. And he turns to Jonathan Steele, or whatever his name is, and is like, promise me you'll take care of him. He says, I will. And he said, basically, I know your word means something, so I'm okay. Basically, I'll give in and tell you guys everything. So I'm guessing he'll still be allowed to date Natalie, and the dad's going to sort of, be a guardian or something. So it seems like I said, everything's resolved, and then Bizarro Superman, or I don't know if that's Bizarro Superman. I know he's a Superman from the other, it's from the Bizarro world. That's where he came from, because, So I didn't see that coming. Not quite sure how they're going to make that work for so many episodes, because, Bizarro Superman and Superman basically have the same powers, the same strength. It's a pretty even fight. I guess they could keep coming to draws or something. I don't know. I don't know where they're going. And part of me is like, oh, what's going to happen next? And part of me is like, oh, what's going to happen next? So I would have rather if they just kept with the arcs they established and just spent the whole season sort of resolving Pia. It was very touching, the end. There is that issue of when you have cancer, you are fighting the pain and everything to stay there for people, and often people do have to have that moment where they say, so season 3, the cancer arc, is kicking my ass. I have struggled with it the whole season, and it has taken, it's like they've done such a great job dramatizing it and dealing with it, but it has taken so much of the fun out of watching a superhero show. But then you respect the quality, the writing, the acting, everything. And what really kills me is both the actors, Superman and Lois, are in Australia at the moment, or they're flying in at the moment. Basically, they're going to appear at I think Supernova, or is it Comic Con? One of the big expos we have in Australia. We have like Supernova, Armageddon, and Comic Con, Oz Comic Con. And both of them are appearing here together, and I would like to meet them, but I just can't go to Sydney. It's too difficult. I'm not comfortable with travelling and large groups and everything at the moment. I can't afford to get sick in Sydney. It's another state. None of my health coverage, Medicare, none of that is transferable. As I just discovered a couple of years ago when I was sick in Sydney, at Mardi Gras 2 years in a row. I got sick in Sydney around Mardi Gras time, and it was pretty difficult to manage. So I just can't go there with what still around, and the flu season and everything together. It's like if they're in Melbourne, I probably could make myself go into the city to see them. Because also Alyssa Milano's here as well, and I love Alyssa Milano. I've met all the other Charmed girls, or the other two of the original three. I haven't met Rose, but I really wanted to meet Alyssa Milano. She's here as well. So I think that's probably why I kind of forgot to watch these 2 episodes and why I'm behind, because when I saw that she was coming, that they were coming and everything, I just was like, I can't think about Supernova superheroes. It's like I can't deal with it all, because I really want to go and I'm missing out. Because I saw Lois and Clark when they were here, Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher, and that was great. And I would like to meet these guys as well, and I would if they're in Melbourne. I would travel into the city. I could manage it, but I can't travel to Sydney. It's too much. And so episode was great. I didn't know where they were going. I can see where they're going now. It's going to be interesting to see how they sort of create this mini arc, this sort of 4 episodes sort of storyline with, Bizarro Superman back from the dead, post-surgery Lois, and I just hope there isn't a moment where her recovery and vulnerability are not exploited by the story. I don't think I can handle that. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to see where they go with this. But I have totally no idea how they're going to go.